On the last episode of Neal's Running Start.
How much revenue have you booked in 2016?
Nothing.
He's like, why haven't you got venture capital? And I said, well, because I don't want to take other people's money.
Our current monthly recurring revenue is 6,000 euros.
But what it makes it special is the weight, but also the strength that it has.
This is Neal's Running Start. We're 2 weeks into the program, and they've had tons of meetings with strategic partners, with customers, potential investors.
If you want to make a movie, where do you make it? Hollywood. That's it. Yeah. You don't make it here.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's cheaper here, right? Or Mumbai, yeah. Everyone's, but it's cheaper. Yeah. It's cheaper to invest in Denver. Yeah. Go yourself, Denver. What's going on in Denver? Right? There's a reason it's cheaper.
Overall, they've had a comprehensive 2 weeks. But also, and the good news is, I think for them, is they've had a lot of fun too. A lot of late nights and way early mornings. We're at the halfway point, and it's now time to check in on their progress. 2 weeks in, give us your synopsis of what you've done, what you've accomplished, and what has happened and what hasn't happened.
Great. Yeah, so first of all, I already said it, like I learned more here. And that's really true. I wrote an email to my family. I said, I learned more here the last 2 weeks than I've learned 4 years in university. Just the experience of people hearing what entrepreneurs go through, that has been a major learning experience for me.
I was the most impressed with Odie's pitch out of the four at the very, very beginning. But an issue that we found is that actually a lot of the things that he mentions in this pitch haven't quite happened yet.
For Odie, he was kind of in a transition because he'd had this service business going on, which was generating some money, but he had aspirations to move towards a product and something that he could actually raise funding for. Because in the Valley, you're not really going to raise funding for a service type business.
Basically, really focus on your product. Investors will not invest in your service. They don't care about the revenue that is made there. It's maybe some sort of proof that you're able to build a business, but they invest in the future.
In order to try to understand where to go next, where to pivot, we had to break down where the value was in what he was doing. And as we did that, the value became narrower and narrower.
It's a hard transition because you're living on the service revenue, as you said. He's got to get on the product revenue right away, so his initial goal is to close those 3 pilots to get revenue in the door. You can't do that fast enough. You got to do both.
I've basically written already 2 books full of notes of things that I want to accomplish and need to do. So for me, this program has already been super successful already in the first 2 weeks. It's just now implementation.
But there's too many objectives in your books. You got 1 or 2. Yeah. Customers, financing. Yeah. Customers, financing. Customers, financing. Everything else doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay, I'll throw them out then.
No. They'll be real beneficial, but not initially.
Now.
They'll be over time.
When I first got here, to be completely transparent, I was super concerned that I didn't have enough of a company.
Now you have it better than anybody?
Now I know that I'm actually pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Catherine, when she started pitching and telling us she had a calendar, she didn't actually know what she had. And I think I saw pretty early on that it was similar to an experience I had professionally. And her eyes lit up and she's like, oh, this might actually be something. So yeah, it's really something. This is an enterprise software company. And it's a whole sort of new category that you can create. And when I told her that, she didn't really want, she resisted it a little bit. It sounded too big.
She comes from a place where it's expected that people will be self-reliant. You don't normally go out and look for resources from other people. And I think that in addition to obviously feeling more confident to ask for it, she's really learned what investment can do for your business and how investors specifically can help you.
I was always trying to compare myself, like, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? And when I got here, I'm like, holy shit, nobody really knows what they're doing.
But the next day, she had embraced it. And she's trying to come up with a name for the category and changing the pitch and all, and it's just really fun to see that excitement.
Yeah, getting here and having such a rude awakening of, you have something, what are you doing? Like, get going. And so definitely the last 2 weeks, it's been really nice to hear, like, you know what, you got something, you can make this happen, and this is what we think you need to do to make that happen.
Well, there's been a lot of things happening during these 2 weeks. Well, first of all, we made a lot of progress with our pitch.
His pitch really was all over the place. And we had a difficult time understanding exactly what it was that he did, if there was anything there and if anybody would care about it.
It's been really great getting to know Antti, and what you learn is that he has a really big personality. He's a really fun, really kind, really interesting guy. And I think that he struggles a little bit when he's talking in front of people, when he's pitching, for example, to let that shine through.
I think the crucial part, what we changed, was that we realized with the talks with you guys, is that we have to come with the story.
You know, the first step was trying to get him to tell me in 5 words or less what your company does.
And since we are sales guys, I can say that I'm a sales guy, and I have one problem, and that's the updating and reporting to the CRM. That keeps me awake at night.
Antti has been working really hard on his pitch. He's been to investors, he's been to customers, he's been to Salesforce, and he's even worked at a polar bear pitch.
Tina, what are you doing? Don't make it too cold.
The product, Zero Keyboard, enables our users to keep their Salesforce.com up to date without typing.
1, 2, 3.
Woo! Oh man, this is cool.
When I start the story with that, all who have been sales guys or know sales guys can relate to the story. And I think that makes the start of the pitch much more powerful. I think that's the biggest thing that I've gotten here personally, is that from each day the confidence level has gone up. At the same time, basically, as the pitch has gone better and better. And well, yeah, then it's easier to be confident when you know that things work.
He needs to simplify and practice, practice, practice.
I'm a little bit still struggling in regards to the comment, what you say, like how can I make it happen? How can I bring my team? And actually, like, we discussed that actually I need to pitch to different investors, and actually now I have that task for this week. And actually, I have already a couple of meetings set up, and I'm going to try to close them.
You have investor meetings set up next week?
Yeah. It's always a temptation to add more. If things aren't happening quickly enough, or the way you want to, add more. He's got manufacturing in the Far East. He's got 2 offices that he's managing in Finland and Spain. It's people are all over the place.
So your investors are all in Finland now?
No, they are here in Silicon Valley, but also they are in Poland.
Very, very difficult to manage. Now, it's a dynamic idea, and it lends itself to prototypes and new ideas and brainstorming, and all that brainstorming stuff needs to stop. He needs to pick one thing, and that's the way it is with lots of entrepreneurs.
Mario is a really, really amazing guy. I mean, this is a guy he's lived in several countries, he speaks 1 million languages, he's done everything from starting companies to, being in the military. And I guess because of those experiences, he's got such an interesting personality. He's such a good negotiator.
I've already emailed to John Callahan from Fitbit, and actually I would like to get his perspective and opinion in regards to how he has taken a wearable and make it commercial. And because they are the only company who has done that, not even Google has done it. And that's something I really want to learn. I would like to pick his brain a little bit more in regards to how to develop TestPack as a brand, but not a product.
Having a very big vision or like concrete vision as well is something that lots of great entrepreneurs can have. But I think that you can also stumble into the zone, I've done it myself, of thinking like you're Steve Jobs or something, and to be a successful entrepreneur you have to be able to predict the future.
I realized that when you talk to VCs and you tell them your whole vision, it gets messy.
It's better to just start with something tiny, just solve a tiny problem, you solve that, and then you can keep building things up. You don't have to predict the future on a global scale.
What we have done now is to narrow it down to our products, and then if they're interested, then we talk about what's the vision.
So the first week for me was, I was so amazed with what happens here, you know, in Silicon Valley, in San Francisco, what happens with startups, how they're funded, how they grow.
You ask questions about everything, about anything, about whatever, but you're always curious to know more. Curiosity quotient is a good trait for entrepreneurs, so you're always curious as to why.
I can remember one conversation that I had with Neal. It was at our apartment, and it was the first one-on-one conversation I had with him, and he just kicked my ass, you know, like he basically said, dude, you should not raise money right now, you should definitely think about it, but it's not your main focus. Your main focus is get the pilots up and running. Put like his finger on the wound, you know, put some salt on it, and I was like, oh gosh, you know, I really have this problem. Right, so he kicked me under the ass. I was a little bit, you know, pissed off about it actually. So I went after the conversation. I went to the golf course. I played some golf, you know, and then I could kind of get back again and think, okay, this is for my own good. You know, this is because I need to grow as a person. I need to grow as an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurs tend to fake it till you make it, but you can't fake the product and you can't fake the numbers. We had the initial meeting on the Monday where we went through everybody's pitches, and everybody, first of all, everybody was nervous. Everybody's pitches were not very good. But I remember specifically in yours, we had this revenue number that was way aggressive, and I said, this is nonsense. This is not true. This is way more than I would have thought, and let's dig into the numbers, and then we did, and then of course it was the other business, and it was a combination. If you want your mentors to help you, you have to give them the good, the bad, and the ugly. What I worry about the most is your ability to sell those 2 or 3 accounts you have installed as soon as you can. And I know you said that 2 of them you think are pretty confident fairly soon. The more that you can get, like the first 2, that you can close quicker, the better, because you've got to have credibility fairly quick in being able to raise the funds. You know, Odie is about to run out of money, so he needs to raise some capital, cut his expenses, and get some pilot customers. Thanks for the list, by the way. I really needed another list.
Well,
from
I'm
you.
sorry.
I mean, I got the list before you left home. That was longer than 2 pages, and now it's been shortened to like about 48 bullets.
Okay, so that list was really my next steps. What's the priority? We only have a limited amount of time. So what are the things that I need him to do for me and the things that I need to do?
My big one is closing the first U.S. customer.
He's like, go where the value is. That's gonna change the game plan for the US.
Really what I'm concerned about. And I'll be concerned about it until you get down there and you get that sign. Katherine's on the verge of closing some big deals, but I'm concerned that she's not thinking big enough.
Yeah.
And I know you're putting a lot of time into it, but I'm worried that you haven't got enough resource on it, or you haven't got enough time to do it, or they're giving you the artful dodge.
Yeah.
Katherine needs to recruit a team. She's doing everything herself. That can't go on. She needs salespeople, she needs development people, she needs product support people. And she's got to do it now. And also, it's just you. You know, what kind of resources do you need to take with you on that trip, or do you need to take anybody?
Yeah, absolutely. We need to take
Yeah.
somebody. So yeah, there's 2 focal points. One is customers, number 1. 2 is going to start recruiting people to join our company. I can't wait till we go get the funding. I need them ready so that when we do get the funding, we're ready to rock instead of wasting time. It's not my first rodeo, but it's a pretty big rodeo.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't
That's
want to
good.
say I'm
No,
not
I'm good. Okay.
concerned,
All right.
but I do have a bit of experience.
So you thought through a lot of them. Okay.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so the stuff that I'm really helping you with is just some of the nits and gnats of trying to sell a big opportunity, because there's stuff you haven't seen. Because this is a much bigger thing than local, and so that's all fun. So I think that I've learned a lot by your refreshingly naive approach, but also you've taught me a lot about, hey, you can do this anywhere. You've been in Saskatoon, a little small town with hardly any resources. Why don't we try to summarize what you really need to get done in the next 2?
I think the critical part for us is to first sign the deal that we just spoke to.
Oh, that was okay.
Yeah, that was a new customer coming in with 200 users.
Is that a U.S. company?
Yeah, that's a US company.
Okay, good. All right. What are you thinking about bringing the company to the U.S. or bringing a team here or setting up an office, both sales and some support?
Yeah. And then the most crucial part would be to find the first inside salesperson and the first marketing person.
Yeah, so I mean, lots of entrepreneurs, especially from Europe, they do consider moving to the US, and it can seem kind of so like a perfect environment for startups here. So it's really getting to the crux of, right, what are the actual advantages of moving out here? Sure, you'll meet lots of people who've been successful and they'll tell you great things, but what is being here going to enable that you can't get back in Europe? And also bearing in mind that your costs are going to go up a lot, salaries, offices. So the kind of things we discussed is that maybe he might want to just get a sales guy here initially. Like just start off small, and then you can have a base in both places.
Who's going to do the recruiting? You?
I will be doing the first recruitments here in the US.
So sell and get additional people and have an office here in the US.
Yes.
Right away.
Yes.
Okay. Now what do we need to do the next 2 weeks?
Start developing a good relationship with the hardware VCs.
Yep.
Second of all, is try to find a very good board of directors member that we can count on.
So the objective of getting the board member or advisor, that would be pretty tough to do in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
Because anybody who would want to do that would want to be an investor, Mario.
Okay. Well, actually, I would say it's difficult to find investors for hardware, but as it is difficult to find investors for software. But we already got investors in being a hardware company, which shows that we're a good company.
But any of those sort of discussions, they're kind of lengthy in the sense that you got to get to know them.
It's a relationship.
You got to get a relationship, and they say they understand what you're doing, and you've explained it to them, and they like what your opportunity they're doing. They want to get involved. They want like you. So that's kind of like a dating.
And here they are.
So the discussions on those sort of people is time consuming, and you probably can't do that in 2 weeks' time.
We're halfway through, and it's now do or die time for the entrepreneurs. Odie needs to get his business on track. Catherine needs to close a U.S. customer. Auntie needs to practice, practice, practice. Mario needs to focus, focus, focus.
Slowly, yeah? Slowly or fast?
No, you do it as quick as you want. I'm filming in slow motion.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Woo! Oh man, this is cool.
Only out.
Yo, one more. One more. Maybe you try.
I'm good.